Hey guys, I hope you're all doing well. Today I'm going to do a video on how RC cars work. So I know that a lot of my viewers are probably know a lot about RC cars and how they work, but some also probably just beginners in this hobby and would like to know how they work. Maybe you watched a video on RC cars and you just have no idea what's going on, how they work, what the components do. So this video is going to explain that. So let's get right into it. So as you can see, I'm using two of my own RC cars for this video. Right here we have the Stampede 4x4 monster truck, and right here we have the Slash 4x4, which is a short course truck. So they're different models, they have different purposes, and they might look different on the outside, but I'm going to show you that they have very similar components on the inside, and they look very similar on the inside. So let's go ahead and take these bodies off really quick. That right there. And as you can see now, they look a lot similar, more similar. So the first thing we're going to talk about is, of course, the motor. So the motor is obviously what powers the vehicle. So right here on the Stampede, this is the motor. It is a brush motor. And on the Slash right here, we have a brushless motor. So these motors are about the same size physically, but the Slash motor is much more powerful. Brushless motors have a lot more power and torque than brushed motors, and they're going to be able to operate at higher speeds. So the next thing we're going to talk about is the electronic speed control, more commonly known as the ESC. So right here on the Stampede, I'm going to flip it around. The ESC is this blue thing right here, and what the electronic speed control does right here on the Slash, it just has a fan on top to keep it cool, but it does look very similar underneath that. So what that does is it gets input from the receiver box, and which gets input from the remote control, as you can see right here, and it tells the motor what to do, how fast to go, when to brake, and all of that stuff. So as I just mentioned, the receiver box is right here on the Stampede and right here on the Slash, and that is what tells basically the entire RC car what to do based on what is being told by the operator through the remote control, which is right here. On the remote control, you see this wheel. That is what turns the vehicle. And then as I just pulled right there, the trigger, that is what powers it. And then you can see a couple dials right there. You have steering trim as well as the multifunction. That is for the TSM, or Traxxas Stability Management. That is an automated system that helps you keep the car going straight. So as I said, the receiver box, we talked about that. So the next thing is the steering servo right here. This is what steers the vehicle. As you can hear, what you hear there are the gears turning inside of the servo when I turn the wheel. So that might sound a little bit different. The reason that the Stampede has a bit higher pitch than the Slash is because the Slash has a metal geared servo. That is why it is this darker box right here. It's actually gray, whereas in the Stampede it is blue. While the Stampede just has plastic gears on the inside, the metal gear servo has a bit more power and it's just a bit stronger generally. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is the battery. So the battery is what powers the motor and the ESC and everything in the car. So the Slash right here uses a LiPo battery. So a LiPo battery, LiPo basically stands for lithium polymer, and the Stampede over here uses a NIM battery, or nickel metal hydride. So the difference between these two battery types is that the LiPo is able to discharge energy a lot faster, and that allows it to operate at a much higher speed and with more powerful electronics. So that's just basically the way it works. There's many types of LiPos as well as nickel metal hydrides. This is a 3-cell LiPo. This is a 7-cell nickel metal hydride battery. This also has 5,000 milliamps of storage space in it, which means that it can hold a good amount of power. This one is a little bit smaller, 3,000. But that's generally how batteries work in the remote control car. Okay, so with that being said, next I want to talk about the suspension. So we're going to show you the suspension on the Slash because it's just a little bit better. So the suspension on the Slash is all metal. They are blue aluminum, as you can see right here. So the spring on the outside, the white part, that is the only thing that pushes the car back up when I push it down. When I compress the spring, it pushes it back up. Now what's inside of the shock, inside of the blue part right here, is actually oil. And the oil inside, when I push down, it gets compressed and it makes it smooth and also harder to depress. So when I lift this up and drop it, it catches itself and obviously it cushions itself. That's how suspension works. So we're gonna do it on the Stampede right here. The Stampede has longer shocks because it has more ground clearance. It also has the metal shock caps. So if we drop it, because it has longer shocks, it can fall from a higher height without bottoming out. But obviously, as you can see, it caught itself, and that's how the suspension works. Okay, so lastly here, we're going to talk about the drivetrain. The drivetrain is what transfers the rotation that the motor creates into the drive shaft and eventually into the wheels, and that's what obviously powers the car. So we're going to look right here in the Slash. This is the motor, as we talked about before. The motor has a shaft that goes through the center of it that spins when the motor is on, and that goes right into here. There are a few gears in here that move the movement from here right into here. This metal bar right here on the smaller one on the bottom, that is the center drive shaft. Because both of these are four-wheel drive, they both have center drive shafts. So as you can see, when I move the car, that center drive shaft spins around. That is because obviously is being spun when I move the car. So now if I flip the car over, I show you that when I move one of these tires, the other tire moves in the opposite direction. That is because inside of here, there is a differential in here and in here. What a differential does is it allows the wheels to move independently. So if this wheel is frozen, if this wheel is stuck, and this wheel is not stuck, it will be able to move, as you can see, independently of this wheel. And that's the video, guys. As you can see, it's really not that complicated. I hope you found it helpful to understand. If you have any more questions or you would just like to say anything, please leave a comment down below. I see every comment and I respond to every single comment. And also, please subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. It would really be appreciated. And if you subscribe, comment down below. Just say that you subscribed and I will comment back and thank you. So thank you so much for watching and I will see you next time. Peace, guys.